Hi everybody. It's about 2 o'clock or 2:30, whatever it is, on Sunday or Saturday, and what I'm trying to do is just do an impromptu live session. So I promised some friends I'd do some pakoras, but I thought I'll do some garlic pakoras with wild garlic. And if you look everywhere, there's wild garlic. Friends of ours have gone foraging. I was lucky enough to not, well, should I not say lucky, I was unlucky enough not to go, but I was very lucky because they got me some wild garlic. So if you look at wild garlic, I mean, there's articles everywhere. These are wild garlic leaves. They're widely available in every patch, and if you know what you are looking for, then get them. But if you don't, then what you can do is you can even get them from your local supermarket. So it's in season, it's sweet, it's got garlic, it's absolutely fantastic. So wild garlic leaves, all I've done is I've chopped it up here. So you can make the pakoras by dipping it in batter, but all I've done is chopped it up. It's literally a 2-minute affair. Chopped onions, I've put some chopped onions in here. It's about one medium-sized onion which I've chopped. I think the lights are quite clear here. So one medium-sized onion which I've chopped. I've got a handful of wild chopped garlic leaves which I'm just dunking into that. And then the other thing which I'm going to put into it is some chopped coriander leaves. So a little bit of chopped coriander leaves. You can put anything, pretty much whatever you want, you've got lying about. But I just thought I've got onion, wild garlic, green coriander. Put that in, that's in the bag, or in the bowl. And then we're going to add the binding agent. So gram flour, pakoras are always gluten free because we use gram flour. I've got some normal chickpea gram flour basin, whatever you call it. Don't use flour. If you've got some chickpea flour, use it. And I'm going to put about, and this is about half a cup, so 2 heaped spoons into it. You don't want too much because what you don't want it to do is you don't want it to become too stodgy. So pakora should be very light. I've got a teeny tiny bit of white rice flour in here, about 1 heaped tablespoon, bunging that in as well. So that goes in. Next thing is some salt, if I can find some salt. Half teaspoon of salt. Chili powder. Let me see if I can find some chili powder. We've got some chili powder. And again, I'm just eyeballing pretty much. Oh, that's too much. I'll take a little bit out. That out. So that's chili powder in there. And then the next thing, which in terms of spices, you can spice it any which way you want. But what I find in terms of spices, what is good is coriander seeds. So there's whole coriander seeds. And I've literally taken about a teaspoon of coriander seeds. And all I've done is I've used the back of my bottle and just crushed it very roughly. Use a mortar and pestle, but you don't want powder, you just want some seeds because it releases the flavor. And the next thing, the last thing that I'll be putting is some carom seeds. And again, carom seeds are very optional. They're called ajwain. They have this lovely aniseedy, pepperminty kind of flavor, and that gives you a burst of some taste when you're making the pakora. So just to add some interest, 1 spoon of that. And that's pretty much it. And some turmeric, of course. So let's take some turmeric and put 1 teaspoon of turmeric in there. So chopped onions, chopped wild garlic leaves, chopped coriander in terms of the fresh ingredients, in terms of spices, gram flour, chickpea, which is chickpea flour, rice flour, chili powder, whole coriander, carom seeds, you can even use cumin, and turmeric and salt. And then you mix it. Now this is when I'm going to do something a bit different. You can mix this with water, but I thought I'll give you another nice technique to make your pakoras nice and light. And that is, if you've got a can of beer, it's Saturday, if you can grab one from the people that you share a home with, or if you've got your own, you only need a little bit, okay? So I've just opened a can of beer. Now don't, if you've got flat beer, you can even use that, but I've just opened one, and I'm going to add a little bit of beer to it to get the batter. Now what you don't want is you don't want to add so much liquid so that it becomes a puddle. You just need enough to bind it together. And you can see I'm mixing it here to bind it together, and it's already coming together. So I've used about 3 tablespoons, and I'm going to put a little bit more in here. And this is the bit that you have to eyeball it, I'm afraid. But the secret is don't put too much so that you end up with a puddle, and then you've got to put more gram flour, and then it becomes, a situation where you're adding one to compensate for the other, and you're ending up with stodgy pakoras. And that's pretty much it. So it's just enough to bring it all together and to keep it, holding it together when you're frying it. So that's that. So that's your batter. That's done. As you can see, I've done this almost with no preparation because I just thought I'll show you while the garlic is sitting there. And Lisa, my lovely friend, got me some fresh garlic. And you can see the veg, so it's all come together. You can see it's all a bit chunky, but it's all together. Yeah. So the next step, I'm going to transfer it to the to my hob, and you can see us frying the pakoras. So let's go here. Let's put it on the hob. And there, you are on the hob, hopefully. Yeah. So you're on the hob. I've got my wok on. You can see I haven't put too much of oil. I've put a little bit of oil in there. So about 1 teaspoon. So I'm going to, 1 inch from the bottom. You're going to sort of shallow fry, come deep fry. You can deep fry it, and that's what pakoras are supposed to be done. But I'm being quite mean and I'm using less oil. Is hot, because if your oil is not hot enough, you'll end up with greasy pakoras, and on the other hand, if it's too hot, you'll end up with burnt pakoras outside and not cooked enough inside. So oil, and the way to check the oil obviously is to always put a bit of something in and see whether it moves. And right, I'm now going to take teaspoons of this pakora batter and I'm going to dollop that in. So, and not too much, because you don't want to use, in fact I'll use my hands, you don't want it too big, because if you have it too big, what will happen is you'll end up with really stodgy big pakoras. Binding, and then you just increase the binding, which is the gram flour of this. Hopefully it will come back later. I'm just going to mix up a little bit more so that while the pakoras are frying, I can put my next lot in. Remove everything else out of the way. I'm just going to rinse my hands. They've been there for about a minute or so, and I'm going to check up on it. Give me a second, and I'll check up on it and see whether it's done or not. Yeah, I think the oil's got a bit too low, so I'm heating up the oil again. The secret of pakoras is always the oil. So that's got, for those who are joining us, it's got wild garlic leaves, it's got onions, green coriander leaves, turmeric, chili powder, salt, gram flour and rice flour. And you can see this one's, turn it over gently. There's a few extra bits which have come apart, but not to worry, you will get your pakoras at the end. The thing is to not over fry it, but to make sure that it's not completely falling apart again. And you've got to be a little bit patient, controlling the temperature, making sure that it's crisp. I think this is actually quite crisp on this. We're almost there with this. See the mix. That's the mix here again. Right here. What I'll do is I'll move the camera back so that you can see the pakoras once I take them out. Yeah, so let me move this back here. Give me a second and I'll bring the pakoras out for you to see. So give me a second and I'll bring the pakoras out for you to see as I take them out of the... They're almost done. So I've given them about 5 minutes, but what you've got is the lightest, frothiest, sort of crunchiest, fluffiest pakoras in creation. So they're not stodgy, you could almost feel the crunch of the leaves. Especially on a Saturday afternoon if you're sitting, well, there's not much to watch on television today, but there you go. And that's my pakoras done, literally, in about 10 minutes. I'm going to take a little bit to just... Absolutely fabulous. Here you go. You've got a drink if you want one. So cheers. I'll carry on with frying the rest of the pakoras. But if you want the recipe, it's going to be now on Insta Live on the IGTV. So follow us. And there you have it. Wild garlic pakoras done with the beer batter. Thank you. Bye.